This video documents my automatic dimming light project. The goal of the project is to automatically dim or brighten lights according to the amount of sunlight coming into the room. And right now I've got it all sprawled out on the table, but ideally you'd be able to put this in any living space. So there's two parts to it. I've kind of drawn this schematic so you can see more easily what's going on. There's two Arduino boards, and they communicate with each other using I2C communication. The first board takes digital and analog inputs from the user and then shows the user what's happening. It gives them information back through the LCD, the liquid crystal display. That same board is also connected to a dimmer module, which adjusts the amount of AC power going to the bulb, which dims it. The second board is a photosensor, so it collects the amount of available light in the room and sends that information back to the first board to let it know how to dim the light bulb. So here's the setup. The dimmer module is inside that gray box behind the first board, and that is plugged into the wall. And then the light bulb is plugged in to the dimmer module, and that's what's powering it right now. And you can see we've got the potentiometer, which is the knob for user input, and then the digital button and the LCD display. And then this is the I2C communication line, which connects it to the second board, which is the photosensor. And you see I've kind of made this covering for it. And it's got two photoresistors, and it averages those two values and sends the value back to the first board. So now I can show you how it runs. So I'm just going to reset the board. It's calibrating, so I'm going to reset the photosensor board. And this is calibrating with max light. So the light bulb's all the way on, so it gets a sense of how bright the room can be. And now it's initializing, so it's gathering light values of the room from the photosensor with the light bulb off, so it knows how bright the room is relative to how bright it could be. And you see it displays this information here. And now the tolerance is set to 0.3, and that is how close the light value in the room needs to be to the user input, plus or minus 0.3. That'll become more clear in a second. So it says hold button to start. So I'm going to hold this button down. I could use the knob to change the input. Right now it's set to 5, so I'm just going to let that run. I'm going to release the button and it's going to start. So there's an algorithm that automatically guesses how bright the light should be, and then it uses the photosensor values to adjust it 2% at a time until it gets there. So right now it's adjusting. And you see it's loading. So every time the bar goes forward once, that means that the light bulb power was sufficient to meet the user demand, which in this case was 5. And then it says that it was met with 53% power. And now we can push the button to reset. I'll run it one more time. So it's initializing, it's gathering the light values from the room again. And it tells us the light value is 2.3. So now I'm going to set it a little higher. Since I only have one hand, I'm going to change it now. So now the user input is 8. And it's going to run again. It's hard to see the dimming through the camera because it's adjusting so little at a time. But it seems like it's found it. And there it was met with 74% power. And now if you set the input to lower than the average light value of the room when the bulb is off, it will automatically set it to 0% power. And if you set it to the max input, which is 9, you can input values from 1 to 9. If you set it to 9, it automatically goes to 100% power. In the future, I could make the communication between the boards wireless using radio transceivers and get rid of this cable. And then you'd be able to put this anywhere in the room to sense the light values, like a coffee table or somewhere in the middle of the room, or maybe even close to the window if you want to minimize the amount of electricity you're using. And then this would be the control unit, which you can mount on the wall behind a dimmer switch. So this whole thing could be put into a room for domestic use. And that's it. That's my project. Thanks for watching.